Hello everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. It is Tuesday, the 2nd of September. My God, September already? What happened to August? Blink and you've missed it. Hope you're all well. Welcome to today's live stream. People are joining us now. Skip. Hello Skip, a channel member. Hello, happy Tuesday everyone. Hello Skip, fantastic that you're joining us. How are you doing? How was your weekend? Tell me about it, Skip. Tell me what you're up to. I'd love to hear from you. EFO, hello everyone. Hello EFO, channel member again. Fantastic that you're with us. It is great that you're joining us. Thank you so much for supporting what we're doing. This is a creative channel for you guys, the creative community, a worldwide community of fellow creatives. Now, some of you are glass artists, some of you are interested in the subject, maybe some of you are coming from different disciplines, maybe you're working with fusing or slumping and you're wanting to learn about stained glass. Well, you've come to the right place. This channel and this live stream in particular goes out every Tuesday. We're debating about the time. You may know that I've been putting a poll out about the starting time. At the moment, it's 7 p.m. UK time, and I've been asking questions on different social media platforms, including YouTube and Facebook, about the live stream and what is the right time, because people tune in from all over the world. Gentle Glass, good evening. Derek, good evening. Good evening. It's Cam, isn't it? Yeah, hi Cam. How are you doing? Hello everyone. Welcome on board. Welcome to all of you. It's fantastic that you're here. So I'm going to continue asking the question about the right time to start the live stream. We've got a lot of people stateside who come onto the stream, a lot of people from Europe and the UK, but also people from Australia and from India. Of course, those time differences are massive. And a couple of our channel members, have said, look, it doesn't really matter whether you start at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, at 9 o'clock. It's 4, 5 or 6 in the morning for us, and it's difficult for us to get up. The valiant efforts of some of my channel members in Australia have meant that they've tuned in at sort of 4 a.m. in the morning, which I'm mightily impressed by, but I don't expect you guys to do that every day or every time we have the live stream. Penny Mason, good afternoon, everyone. Penny, good afternoon. It is great that you're joining us. Welcome to the live stream today. Papas99, God bless from Transylvania. Hello, Papas99. Welcome. It is great that you're with us today. Mary, hi everyone. Mary Quarmby, hi Mary. It's great that you're here. Wonderful that you're joining us today. Ezekiel's Spiritual Awakening. Greetings, Derek. Ezekiel's Spiritual Awakening. Greetings, Derek. Well, greetings to you too. It's wonderful that you're joining us today. I'm loving all the little emojis, a heart and this, and then the little alien as well. It is great that you're with us. Fantastic that you're joining us today. JLL, hello from Wisconsin, USA. JLL, it is great that you're here today. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me just let a few more people into the stream. Welcome on board. Let me know what you're up to. Let me know what you've been doing for the weekend. Have you had a good weekend? How's your Tuesday? Is it just starting for you? Is it coming to an end? Is it the middle of the night? You might be watching this on replay after the live stream has gone out. You're welcome to watch it. You can actually hopefully catch the live stream chat as well, because this live stream is really about the interaction between me and you guys in real time. So I'm here to answer your questions and chat about all things stained glass, but you can look at the chat after the live stream goes out and you can follow the conversation and you can see who's asking questions. This is also a community for you to make connections with fellow creatives around the world. So if you feel comfortable about sharing maybe your Instagram handle or your Facebook ID, your Facebook name, so people can follow you. I'm really keen that we all kind of connect with each other, because I've got so much value from meeting and connecting with people around the world. We're all really interested in the subject of stained glass and being creative and using our creative instincts to express ourselves through glass and stained glass or hot glass in general. And it's a worldwide community. So, share your, if you feel comfortable. Obviously don't put any personal information on the chat that you wouldn't want shared with everyone, but if you want to share your social media tags, you know, so that other friends and other colleagues who are on this stream can connect with you. It's fantastic to connect, isn't it? It's good to chat, it's good to talk. There's no gatekeeping on this channel. We try our very best to give as much high quality information and high quality inspirational content as we can, because at the end of the day, we're here to build this wonderful creative community one day at a time. And wonderful that so many people are joining us. Julie Gritton, hello everyone. Hello Julie, thank you for joining us. Another channel member. Ginger, hello again from Carolina. Ginger Earl, great that you're with us today, Ginger. Thank you so much for joining us. Now Gentle Glass says, Derek, you can add questions on your fan page and pin to the top with ready answers 7, 8 or 9 p.m. when you can see the results in one place. Okay, I didn't know that. Let me just read that again, Cam. You can add a question on your fan page and pin to the top with ready answers 7, 8 or 9 p.m. where you can see the results in one place. Yeah, thank you for that. I'm basically asking the question, what time is the best time for you guys? Now, I realize it's going to be different for wherever you are in the world. What time is going to be the best time and the most convenient time for you to watch the live stream? I'm not going to be able to help everybody unless I'm streaming 24 hours a day, which is, yeah, not really doable because I've got other things I have to do as well as the stream. The stream is a highlight for me. I love doing this stream. I get such a buzz from connecting with you guys. You know, some people have said, why are you streaming on the vertical format, you know, not the horizontal format? I know if you're looking at this live stream, say on your television, quite a lot of people do follow YouTube on their TV, you know, and they've got these wonderful big widescreen TVs now, you know, the size of a cinema complex, a lot of them. A vertical stream can look a little bit strange on that setup. But the reason I've gone down the route of vertical live streams is because a lot of people connect on live streams in a very casual way. They might be on a train, they might be commuting home, and they're just picking up their phone and they get a little notification that I've gone live. So they follow me on the train. They're not following me on a widescreen television, they're following me on a mobile device. And this is really the audience that I'm kind of connecting with. It's a really handy way of you doing something else, maybe listening to the live stream, maybe not even watching the visuals, but just putting it on almost like a podcast. You know, I know a lot of people are working in the studio and they have this live stream on as a podcast, just running along in the background, you know, because it's like a stained glass podcast. There's not that many of them around, and we're here to kind of try and cover as many bases as we can. So the vertical format is really there because it's a convenient way. A lot of people, most people, if you look at the analytics, are looking at YouTube on a mobile device. That's, you know, that's just the plain facts of the matter. They're using an iPad, they're using a mobile phone, but increasingly a lot of people are using television as well. And really interestingly, you're getting a lot of statistics now about YouTube being, you know, one of the top streaming platforms, overtaking things like Netflix and overtaking things like Prime, you know, Amazon Prime, because it's such a well-established platform. And it's basically, it's the way that people get answers to questions. You know, YouTube is the second biggest search engine on the planet. It's run by Google, who happens to run the biggest search engine in the planet. So YouTube is really this kind of wonderful portal that people come to for answers to questions from all over the world. The wonderful thing as well that YouTube is doing, and you may find this if you're watching my long form content, my sort of landscape content on my channel, is that you can translate my voice into so many different languages. So you'll get, you know, I'm speaking in English, but you press the button and I'm speaking in Portuguese, or I'm speaking in Chinese or German or French or Russian. So it just makes it so much easier for people to kind of get the information they need. They type a question into YouTube. How do you cut glass, or how do you paint on glass, or what's the best brushes to paint on? So many questions, and I'm, you know, trying to put videos out there that answer those questions, and hopefully you'll find my channel, you know, and you'll answer those. I'll be able to answer your questions for you in your own language. It's not universal languages, but it's increasing all the time. So YouTube is a really powerful platform for reaching a worldwide audience and helping people to, find answers to their problems. And, the live stream is going out in a vertical format. And I know it's not, not everybody's happy with that. And I've looked at the possibility of trying to stream horizontally and vertically at the same time. But there are a lot of technical challenges with that. So I'm sticking with, if you're following my live streams regularly, we've had a whole host of technical issues all over the variety of streams. I think we're on live stream number 14 now. So hopefully we've ironed out a lot of the gremlins and we've got a nice clean feed, with the sound that works in real time. Tell me if the sound is a problem with the sound. I hope it's not today. We've maybe got the music down to the right level now. So I'm going to stick with the kind of vertical format like this for the foreseeable future. But we are debating on the time. What is going to be the perfect time for you guys? Having a little slurp of coffee. So let's say hello to a few more people now. Ezekiel says, I'm in the boot camp with you tomorrow. Aha, are you in the boot camp indeed? Fantastic. So the boot camp, if you are, so I take it you're a YouTuber as well, Ezekiel? I'm doing quite a lot of work with YouTube at the moment where we are in things called boot camps where we meet with lots of other YouTubers to discuss how we help our communities. So there's an amazing array of different YouTubers, astrophysicists, mermaids, tech gurus, artists, musicians, and we're all putting YouTube videos out, and we meet in these boot camps with YouTube mentors to help us deliver the best kind of content. And one of the reasons that I started doing these live feeds is through one of the boot camps that I attended. So we have these online meetings where we talk with other YouTubers around the world. And the big push really on YouTube at the moment is to do more live streams, because things like TikTok are doing a lot of live streams, and YouTube wants to maintain its dominance and be the number one platform, the go-to platform, the user-friendly platform for everyone. And they have this, this wonderful interactive community, and it's a very kind of engaged community. So one of the impetuses for me to start doing live streams was through the boot camp. So Ezekiel, yeah, it'd be wonderful. Tell me more in the chat. Tell me more about your involvement with the boot camp as well, because I'd love to hear from you. Ginger says hello again from North Carolina. Ginger, it is wonderful that you're here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ginger. How's your day been? What's your interest in glass? You possibly have told me already. I may have forgotten, but do tell me about your background. I'd love to hear from you. All of you guys in chat at the moment, do tell me, give me a little bit of information about you, because I'd love to know more about you so I can tailor what we're doing for you guys in a more meaningful way. Mary says, how do you repair a relatively small repair near the edge of a stained glass door? Can you do it in situ? Okay, great question, Mary. It depends is the answer. Can you do a repair in situ? Very often you can do repairs in situ. And the way you do it is to very carefully bend the outer leaves of the lead that surround the piece of glass, bend those leaves back at 90 degrees. So they'll be sitting flat up against the glass. And you get a little oyster knife or your lead knife, and you very carefully put the lead knife between the edge of the glass and the leaf of the lead. And you gently lift up that leaf of the lead, and you do it slowly and gently, because if you try and do it too quickly, you can stretch the lead and you can crimp the lead. And the idea is once you've stretched the lead open, you want to be able to push the lead back down in position without having stretched it, because if you stretch it, it can become a little bit crimped. So it does take a little bit of practice to kind of work your way around a damaged piece of glass in a stained glass window, maybe in a door panel, as you say. Bend the lead very carefully back, then score the remains of the glass, get round to the other side of the glass and carefully tap the glass, fracturing all those score marks, which will allow you to take the fragments of the glass out of the damaged piece. You then cut a new piece of glass, hopefully the same color and the same texture of glass. You very carefully cut it so that it is just inside the opening that you can then pop back into the window and bend the lead back down. It takes quite a lot of practice to do, and it's very easy to get the glass cut to the wrong size. What you need to do is bring a pair of like grozing pliers with you. If you're doing it in situ, these are grozing pliers. Now you may be familiar with them. They have a curved jaw and a flat jaw, and you use those. I'll demonstrate in a little while. You use the grozing pliers to nibble the glass, because sometimes the glass is not quite cut to the right size. And if you're on site, you know, if you're doing a repair to someone's front door panel, you're not going to have a grinder with you, or at least I doubt very much you're going to have a grinder with you. So you're going to have to grind the glass down by hand with a little set of grozing pliers like these. Once you cut your glass down to the right size, it should pop snugly into the opening that you have, and then you bend your lead back down. Then you waterproof the window with some putty. So buy some glazier's putty from a hardware store. Now the glazier's putty is normally like a flesh coloured or sort of off-white coloured putty. I recommend you darken the putty down with a little bit of grate polish or even shoe polish. You know, black shoe polish. Add something like that to your putty mixture to darken it down. Because you can then, after you're putting a pair of gloves on, because that's quite a messy job adding blackening to your putty, you then push the putty between the glass and the lead, sealing the new repair so that water can't get between the lead and the glass. And it also helps to stabilize the glass and stop the glass from rattling. So you can do it that way. It takes quite a lot of practice, Mary, to do that, but that's the way you do it. And it's in the UK, those repairs are called stop-ins. Stop, S-T-O-P-I-N. A stop-in is basically you're putting a new piece of glass in to do an in-situ repair, but it's not always possible to do, and you have to sort of gauge how easy it is to access the piece of glass and how easy it's going to be to bend the lead back as well. It's not always possible to do, especially as you're saying, Mary, here, a relatively small repair near the edge of a stained glass door. So sometimes it's really awkward to get into the edge of a door because maybe there's a beading that's holding the window in, and you might have to take the beading off, you know, and then bend the lead back that way and do your repair, then pop your beading back on. Every situation's different. What you might have to do is sort of say to your client, or if you're doing work for someone else, that you have to take the door panel out. Then you have to obviously temporary board the door panel and take the door panel back to your studio and do the repair on the bench. Then it's much more controllable. You've got all of your tools and equipment there. You've got your glass grinder, you know, you've got all the stuff that you need to do the repair in the comfort of your own studio. You know, that's the ideal situation, but sometimes you can do repairs in situ. I hope that's answered your question, Mary. I might put a video together the next time I'm doing a little repair, an in situ repair, just to show you the method that I use. I know I have done repairs and videoed it before, doing some medieval glass repairs over at Guildhall in Coventry, some 15th century glass I was repairing, and I never actually made that into a finished video. Quite a lot of the time I'm filming what I'm doing but never get around to making a video on it. So somewhere on my phone is a video of me repairing some 15th century glass, doing stop-ins at the Guildhall in Coventry. And I might make that into a finished video and show it, either show it on the YouTube channel or maybe show it here one day. Jane says, "Hi everyone. I have my first course in a few weeks' time to learn this amazing craft. So complete newbie here." Well, Jane, you've come to the right place. Welcome. I hope you enjoy your learning of the craft in a few weeks' time. I'm not quite sure where you're doing it, but do tell us where you're doing it, where you hail from, where in the world are you? Jane Arney. So Jane, yeah, welcome to the live stream. It's great that you're here today. Maxim says, "Good evening, Derek and stained glass folk." Well, good evening, Maxim. How are you doing? It's great that you're here with us. Skip, a little message there that's been retracted. Lorna McKenna says, "Hi." Hi, Laura. Laurel, I do apologize. Laurel McKenna. Hi, Laurel. Welcome to the live stream today. Julie Lafleur, hello Julie. Great that you're here with us. Skip says, question Derek, when exactly do you sleep and eat? Yeah, I've actually had difficulty sleeping at the moment. I don't know if you guys have the same thing. I don't know what it is, but I kind of waking up about 6. But normally I try and waking up. The alarm goes off at 6 in the morning. I go to bed about 10 o'clock at night. So that's usually, 8 hours sleep. But I've been waking up around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know about you guys, but once I waken up at that time, the brain starts going, and you start thinking, and and it's really hard to get back to sleep. So you're in, I don't know what it is, but do you ever, it's not really insomnia. I think it's just an overactive brain. I suppose what I should do is a little bit of reading last thing at night rather than scrolling through TikTok or scrolling through social media, because I think that keeps your brain kind of a little bit buzzed. That whole thing about blue light, isn't it? You're meant to come off a screen an hour, is it? Or 2 hours before you go to bed at night. I have my phone surgically glued to me. I'm kind of on the phone all the time. But yeah, I mean, I love getting up early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, coming down for breakfast. Quite often, my wife and myself will do yoga first thing in the morning for 40 minutes or so. And it's just a great way to start the day. Then you have some breakfast and you kind of start your day off. But yeah, what a bugger. I don't know if it is for you guys. Waking up in the wee small hours, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, can't get back to sleep. Do you guys suffer from that? Maybe not. I don't know. You maybe sleep like a baby. But yeah, maybe I need to do some more exercise or something to kind of tire myself out so that I sleep longer. Gentle Glass says, I'm falling in love with working with glass. When I was 8 and I broke my neighbor's window. What? You broke your neighbor's window when you were 8? Yeah. I think when I was about 8, Cam, I broke my own window. We were in a house in the Highlands of Scotland, in a little place called Boyne, which is a God's own country, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. Royal Deeside, up near Balmoral Castle, where the king or the queen and the royal family go for their annual vacation. Golden eagles in the sky, salmon in fresh water, red squirrels and deer. It's just a wonderful part of the world. And I lived up there till I was about 9 years of age. And I remember one day we were playing in the back garden and I was kicking a football, as you do when you're 8 years of age. And of course I kicked it through one of the plate glass windows. And I was mortified, absolutely mortified. And at that time we were living in a council house. My mum and dad. My dad was a mature student. He was at Aberdeen University learning Russian, of all things, Russian and German. So he was supporting a family with 3 kids on a student grant. So breaking a window was not the best idea. So the council were called and the council came round and I watched these glaziers cut glass, break the window out of this metal crystal window and putty the glass back in. And I remember at the age of about 8 being absolutely fascinated by it. And the glazier was watching me, watching him, and he gave me a lump of putty at the end to play with. And that's the first time I'd ever really handled putty, because I'd broken one of our windows in the house. And it was amazing, this kind of lovely, warm, malleable material that had that very particular linseed oil smell to it. So you know what, Gentle Glass? I know Cam is your name, Cam. Yeah, I kind of started working with glass and fell in love with it. I don't know if I fell in love with it, but I became aware of glass at around the same age. It's funny what you remember, isn't it? But that is definitely something that I remember as an early part of my life. And I also remember going to my grandma's in Glasgow. One of my grandmas lived in a house with stained glass in the front door. And I remember being fascinated by the colours and the patterns and the textures and the play of light. Those early kind of remembrances. And going to church, at school, we had to go to church and Sunday school and seeing all the stained glass. All of it kind of plays in your mind, that kind of early memory that's laid down. And they were always very good memories, very happy memories, But yeah, it was kind of laying the foundations for the discovery of stained glass at art school, which was for me a great revelation. Mary says, thank you for this information. The thought of taking out the door is daunting, but I might need to. Yeah, I know. It is daunting taking out a door. I don't know if it's your door panel, Mary, or it's a friend's. But yeah, taking out door panel is no small endeavor, because also it puts stress under the door panel. You know, if you have to take the beading off and then very carefully, you know, take, if there's any supporting saddle bars, undo the copper ties or the ties that are holding the saddle bar, take the saddle bar out, carefully take the window out. It puts the window under stress. So if you're not reletting the whole window, you're kind of like fatiguing the window by having to take it out. So you do want to kind of try and do the repair in situ, the stop-in, as we say, the stop-in, the repair, the in-situ repair, if you can. Failing that, and you've made an assessment, then taking the window out is the only other way to do it. Laurel says, been doing glass for 2 years. A lifelong dream achieved at 68. Oh my goodness, that is fantastic, Laurel. 68, and you're now doing stained glass, working with glass. Only copper foil so far. Well, that's great. It is a great start. So you're well behind Marc Chagall, who started working at stained glass in his early 70s. He'd been painting beautiful paintings for decades and was introduced to stained glass making and designing at about 72, I think. So, you know, this is the start of your new passion, your new career, Laurel. Stained glass windows and copper foil work. So that's really the kind of great gateway drug for a lot of people into the world of stained glass, is working with copper foil. I know especially in the States, copper foil work is really popular, making Tiffany lamps and making little light catchers. Also working with hot glass and fused glass. A lot of people will then start turning their attention towards maybe painting on glass and developing their interest in glass in new areas. So you may be finding yourself on my channel here and on the live stream, having come to it from other areas and other disciplines. Welcome. You're very welcome to join us. My raison d'etre for running the YouTube channel is to pass on the skills that I've learned over 40 years of making stained glass windows as a professional glass artist, running a studio, making new work and doing conservation and heritage work. You know, that lifelong learning, I'm really keen to pass it on to you guys. So, you know, however you're getting into glass, whether it's through copper foil work or hot glass work, and you're here learning about stained glass, that is absolutely fantastic. So, Debs says hello from New Hampshire. Yes, hello Debs, New Hampshire. It is great that you're here today. Let me just see if I can refresh my feed here. Press the button before I had finished. Help might be needed. Help might indeed be needed. Yeah, do you have a tame glazier that you can call on, or a tame carpenter? Someone whose help that you might need if you're taking a window out, you know. I just got in contact with a carpenter friend of mine because I'm not a carpenter and I needed some woodwork done with some oak. And Kev the carpenter very kindly came up trumps and got the oak ready for me, which was absolutely wonderful. Complementary skills, you know, there's a lot of different disciplines. The analog skills, you know, the heritage skills of working with stonework or woodwork or stained glass, you know, they're all interlinked. We all work together, especially on heritage work. Jane says, I'm in Kent, but the course is in Peng near Crystal Palace. I'm a bit nervous. Any tips? Any tips? Just chill, just relax. You know, I mean, it's easy to say and a bit difficult to do, especially if you're, you know, if you're a shy person. It's quite a big thing to go on a course. I'm presuming, yeah, you're going to Crystal Palace. You got to get yourself to Crystal Palace and sort of arrive, and there may be other people on the course. And it's a funny thing, isn't it? Kind of being a stranger in amongst strangers. When I do my courses, what I tend to do, and a little tip, if you're doing classes or if you're involved with classes, get everybody to introduce yourself. You know, stand in a circle and introduce yourself, and just give each other a little bit of background about yourself. You may never have done glass before, and that's okay. I mean, you know, glass is for everybody at all levels, and it's, you know, you may never have done it before, but if you're starting out, you just say, look, hi, I'm interested in glass and I don't know anything about it. But don't feel in any way that that's an inadequacy or something that you need to hide. You know, everybody has to learn somewhere. Every single one of us stands on the shoulders of giants. You know, I've learned what I've learned by the generosity of fellow creatives who've shared their knowledge and advice with me. And all I'm doing is passing that on to you so that you can continue with it as well. So the only advice I could possibly give you is to relax and be confident. Even if you know nothing about it, just tell people that you know nothing, and there's no such thing as a silly question. Don't hold back. You're there to learn. So if you have a question and if you need to ask anything, just ask it, because there is no such thing as a silly question, because you can probably guarantee that other people in the course want to ask the same kind of questions. So just ask those questions, you know, and hopefully your tutor, whoever your tutor is in Crystal Palace, will be able to help you along the way. Same here in Argyll, Derek. Argyll, yeah, beautiful Scotland. It is beautiful, isn't it? It is, yeah, it is. Oh God, I don't know what it is about Scots. Wherever you are in the world, we always get emotional thinking about the homeland. You know, I left Scotland to live down in England 40 years ago, but I still consider my spiritual home in lots of ways to be the Highlands of Scotland, you know, even though I left there when I was a wee lad. My accent was entirely different. It was Doric accent, which is a Highland accent, an Aberdonian Highland accent, where boys were called loons and girls were called quines. Different, really interesting kind of dialect, completely different to the way I talk now. But yeah, lovely Scotland. Scotland is wonderful. Love living in England, though. I mean, my home here for the last 40 years has been England, and I adore living down here as well. And I think if you can call your home, if you can put roots down wherever you are, you're blessed. You know, if you can put roots down and you can find a place that you can call home and you can settle in, it is a wonderful thing. And I've definitely put roots down here in wonderful Leicestershire and love living here now as well. So Gramps says, can't believe I remembered that today was the live stream. Welcome, you've made it, Gramps, you're welcome. Yeah, another channel member. You've been a long time channel member, and I really, really do appreciate all the support and help that you channel members give. I can't really thank you guys enough. It is so wonderfully valuable and helpful that you help me to help you and the wider community with this wonderful world of stained glass. So Gramps, it is great you're here today. Nick Moore says, glassworking from around 13 years old, admiring from much earlier. Well, Nick, that is brilliant. Glassworking from around 13 years old. That is fantastic, Nick. Another channel member. Do tell us more, Nick. How did you get involved with glassworking from the age of 13? Do tell us. It would be wonderful to share your glass journey with all of us here. Mary says, I'm worried about how old the lead is, and it's not my window. Yeah, that's a good question. Let me have a little slurp of coffee. So lead does age, you know, like all of us. And it doesn't age like a fine wine. It ages and it becomes more brittle over a period of time. So lead, you know, usually in a door panel will fatigue a little bit quicker because the door panel is opening and closing. And, you know, if somebody leaves a back door open and the front door is open, that can create a draft and the door can slam shut. I've often seen people who have maybe a door that it isn't properly closing and you need to get a joiner to trim the door down. But say they often, just out of habit, will come in with 2 bags full of shopping and they will push against the stained glass window that might be in the door. And that pushing against the door to close the door, if your hands are busy holding shopping, will bow the glass as well over a period of time. So stained glass or leaded glass windows in door panels will fatigue quicker and they will age quicker. And if they're not properly supported or the door is slamming shut or people are leaning up against it, it will start to bow and buckle. So you're right to be slightly hesitant. And so do take your time and make a careful assessment of the door panel and decide whether the lead is healthy or not. Sometimes older lead, if it's Victorian lead, again, Mary, I don't know the age of the glass in the window, but the profile of Victorian lead is often quite thin. You get flat leads and rounded leads. The rounded leads have a little bit more meat in the lead, so they're a little bit more durable. Sometimes the flat lead comes, the H section flat lead, is really quite thin, and when you start to bend that leaf back that I was talking about earlier on in the feed in order to do the repair, sometimes you find that that outer leaf can separate. So it is a tricky one. You know, there are, take your time is all I would suggest, Mary. Do a little experiment with a little bit of the lead and bend a little bit of the lead back and see how easy it is to bend that lead back and how robust the lead came is. You know, the lead flange that you're bending back. Some lead is really quite fine and quite delicate. So it might be at the end of the day better to just take the panel out, temporary board the opening, and then put it on your bench and work with the panel flat. I don't know, because I don't know the details of that project, but those are the variables that you have to sort of bear in mind. Graham Watson says, hi, I just don't have room for firing stained glass. Can you recommend where I can go? Graham, I'm not sure where you are based, but if you can find access to hiring a kiln, that is the best option that I can suggest. I don't know quite where in the world you are, Graham, but if you can find a college, a further education college that maybe has a hot glass department, stained glass department, or if you can find a local stained glass studio, approach them and say, look, I'd really like to kind of rent some kiln time. It's quite common for people who don't have kilns to kind of create trays of ready painted glass that you can put in the back of your car and take to a kiln and then fire it in a kiln. Here in the UK, places like Ely Stained Glass Museum, where I teach, rents out the kiln. And adult education colleges sometimes will rent kilns out. Further education colleges, or try and find a friendly potter or a friendly ceramicist. It's difficult. I know in the States, Tim Carey, who runs Vitronic Glass, who runs hot glass courses along with Bullseye Glass, they have a really clever system of renting studio kilns. And it's quite an established, it looks like an established system. I don't know the details of it, but you can go on to Tim Carey's Instagram page to find out more if you're stateside, where you can access a kiln and perhaps rent some kiln space there. I hope that helps you, Graham. HM Fan 2010 says, greetings all, greetings to you, HM Fan. Welcome to their live stream today. Cam from Gentle Glass says, I bought a soldering iron today. Due tomorrow, so tomorrow we'll cut some glass for a side project to get a few days of training in. Okay, what was the soldering iron you bought, Cam? Was it a Heiko FX601 by any chance? Was it a Weller, a WD 100 watt? And these are the popular electric soldering irons. You may have invested in a gas soldering iron. If you have, welcome to the club. These are more exotic. I tend to use a gas kiln if I'm doing volume work because it stays hotter for longer and is a great fast method of soldering up. But if you're just starting out, usually you'll buy an electric kiln, an electric soldering iron. So Heiko, I would recommend, is probably one of the better ones because the reliability issues with the Weller WD 100 watt irons is questionable nowadays. They seem to have moved the making and the manufacture of these Weller irons to Mexico, I think it is, and they can be a little bit unreliable. So the Heiko FX601, I think it is called, which has got a variable thermostat little button on the handle, I think is pretty good. It's not 100 watt, it's only about a 46 watt, but it does get up to temperature. So it might be that one. Do tell us, Cam, what soldering iron it was that you bought. Mary says, the Exchange in Mart introduced me to glass. The Exchange in Mart, my goodness. Yeah, fantastic. I haven't heard of the Exchange in Mart for a long time, but yeah. Tell me a little bit more, Mary, of how that Exchange in Mart introduced you to glass. And Ginger says, I have worked with glass since I was young. I've been learning to paint on glass for the last 3 years, and I'm still learning. I've purchased a couple of colors of enamels, haven't tried yet. Well, Ginger, that is brilliant. We're all still learning. I am still learning too. I'm forever a student. And that's the great thing. There are so many ways to do this. So hopefully my YouTube channel with a lot of free tutorials is helping you along the way with your learning of glass painting and with enamels. I'm putting an enamel course together. You may be interested in that. It's a work in progress. It's a lot to learn. There's a lot to film. But hopefully when it does come out, it might help you as well. But there's still a lot of free information on my YouTube channel as well. And you can always email me as well and ask questions. I'm here to help you as much as I can. Skip says, this is to Graham. They make some really tiny kilns that plug into regular sockets. I'm working with a 6-inch rapid fire kiln for years. You can only fire small pieces, but it's a way to start. Yeah, it is, Skip. That's fantastic. Yeah, I was actually looking at really small kilns, again, that you can buy online. So wherever you are in the world, if you Google small flatbed kilns, you try and, there are microwave kilns, but avoid those because those microwave kilns are really designed for fusing and jewelry work. They're not really designed for stained glass work. So you want to get a kiln that has a flat bed on it that you can put your glass in flat if you can. You can also use pottery kilns and ceramic kilns that you can buy secondhand from places like eBay. But yeah, good call out, good shout out there, Skip. Yeah, you can buy little plug-in kilns, but do your research wherever you are in the world and see what's available. Ginger says, I love Chagall. I'm 71, so yeah, you're in there early, 71. Yeah, I love Chagall too, Ginger. I mean, Marc Chagall's translation of his paintings into glass is just magic. Absolutely magic, and he's one of my favorite glass artists because he's coming to it from a painter's eye, you know, having the eye and the visual aesthetics of a painter. He's really using stained glass in a slightly different way thanks to his interpreter, whose name escapes me off the top of my head, who worked with him for years translating his paintings into glass designs. But yeah, I love Chagall as well. Absolutely fabulous. So Gramps says, any thoughts about lead-free solder? It's used the same way as 6040, and is it as strong? Is it used the same way as 6040, and is it as strong? So that's a great question, Gramps. I don't use lead-free solder. I have tried it and haven't liked it that much. There's so many different solder types around. And you can buy spools of solder that come in sort of little spools, and some of them have the flux embedded into it as well. I tend to use what's called blowpipe solder, which is a 6040 tin lead solder, so it's got lead in it rather than lead free. I find that, I know there's a health issue or there's a health consideration for using lead free solder, just as there's a health consideration for using lead free paints. But in my experience, the lead-free options tend not to function quite as well, whether it's the paints or the solder. The full-fat lead solder I find works best. And if you are diligent with your health and safety, and you wear safety gear, so it's, you know, gloves if you're soldering, a face mask and an extractor to extract the fumes, the fluxix fumes when you're soldering. You don't eat or drink while you're soldering. Using lead-based solder, I think, is what I would suggest. But, you know, if you're pregnant or if you are, not that I'm imagining, Gramps, that you're pregnant, but, you know, if you are of that age and if you are pregnant, you might not want to be using lead-based products. Or if you're working from home in a spare room and you have small children or pets around, you might not want to be using lead-based products. I completely respect that. By all means, work with lead-free paints and lead-free solder. My preference is, in working in my commercial studio, I use 6040 blowpipe solder, which has got a lead component to it. I hope that answers your question, Gramps. Cam of Gentle Glass says, my friend, can you tell me what's the simplest program to use to turn a photo into a graphic design for cutting? Well, that's a great question. So there are a variety of different programs around. The one that it seems that a lot of glass artists use Procreate. Now, Procreate's available for the iPad. You tend to use it in conjunction with a stylus or a pen. And Petri Anderson, who's been on the live stream and is maybe familiar to a number of you, a very talented traditional glass artist here in the UK, designs all his amazing stained glass using Procreate. I downloaded Procreate a while ago, put it onto my iPad and fiddled around with it, but then never really stuck with it because the program that I use is Photoshop. I use Adobe Photoshop, but the learning curve of Photoshop is quite steep and it does take you a while to learn it. And Photoshop is also a massively kind of capable program. And the subscription that Adobe now has for their programs means that you're paying a monthly or an annual fee for a whole suite of complex programs. And I use about 10% of them. You know, I use a very small amount of what Photoshop can actually do in order to create my designs. I'm pretty old school, to be honest. I tend to design on paper with pencils, colored pencils, and I draw my designs out on paper, just with pencils. And then I use Caran d'Ache pencils, which are water soluble, so I color my designs in after I've created all my lead work. And I experiment with lots of different iterations of that, just with pencils and paper. Once I've kind of settled on a design or the general direction that I want my design to go in, I will scan those designs in on my scanner and import them into Photoshop. And very often I will have taken a photograph of, say it's a door panel, I will have taken a photograph of the door, and I will then superimpose the design onto, using Photoshop with layers. I superimpose the design, the pencil sketch design, into the opening or the aperture of the door panel, or if it's your church window, into the lancet. And then I will continue kind of to work through my design ideas using lots of different design ideas before I kind of settle on the finished one. So there isn't one kind of like golden bullet that you can use that's going to solve all the problems. I think there are commercially available stained glass design packages, but I've never rated them because they're kind of a bit cut and paste, color by numbers. And I would encourage you to kind of design for, you know, learn to design, whether it's your front door panels. It's enjoyable. It's a bit of a learning curve, but really this is a traditional craft, an analog craft that uses your hands, you know, to draw the designs out. So, you know, I would encourage you to, rather than looking for a software answer, try using pencils and paper, then import it into things like Photoshop. But you might want to go straight onto Procreate, you know, and I know Petri does import pretty much all of his images right into Procreate. But again, that's learning a program of layers. So you have different layers where you can superimpose one design on top of another, and you can vary the transparency of each image and each layer. It works very much like glass. They're really good and they're helpful tools, but for me there's no substitute for learning the kind of traditional skills of glass design, whether it's a front door panel or it's a church window. You know, it's enjoyable, and it you know, it's not something you'll learn straight away, and there isn't a catch-all one program to fit the bill. You have to adapt all of the programs out there to kind of suit how you kind of want to work. I hope that answers your question. Mary says, oh sorry, let's go back a little bit. Skip says, I've been a professional stained glass artist for 35 years. That is fantastic, Skip. I'm focused mostly on original fine art these days. Yeah, brilliant, Skip. That is fantastic. 35 years. Congratulations. Mary says, always happy to share my kiln. I am in Wiltshire. There we go, chat. There's a kiln. The possibility of a kiln rental in Wiltshire. I suggest you guys get in contact with each other. Mary, if you're happy to put your social media links out there for people to contact you, you know, just think about how you want to kind of connect with people. Don't put any personal information out there that you don't want to, but if you are on social media, Mary, that's a great shout out that there's a kiln in Wiltshire. Julie says, when I was looking at various artists' work, I'm always curious about how they achieve a certain effect. As being a newbie, I have no clue, especially when you're looking at Harry Clarke's work. So many questions. Wow. Well, you know, you've gone to one of the top glass artists who ever lived, Harry Clarke. Julie, I like your taste. Yeah, Harry Clarke is fabulous. Now, I mean, we could do endless live streams just on the work of Harry Clarke and the techniques that he uses. Yeah, so many questions and so many ways to answer those questions. Harry Clarke was a genius, an absolute genius. And I went on a tour to Southern Ireland many years ago with my wife, and we went round various Harry Clarke stained glass window installations, and it was just fantastic to see his work. And I've been down to see his work for auction in London at the auction houses and got up close personal to see some of this most amazing pieces of glass. And when I work at Ely Cathedral and I teach over there's some original Harry Clarke that you can get up close to as well. Absolutely fantastic. He was a wonderful draftsman, very unique style, a very unique visual language, and a beautiful draftsman as well. And he had a great way of working with sgraffito, where he would scratch a lot of the pigment out to reveal the color behind. Yeah, there's so many things we could talk about when it comes to Harry Clarke. Graham, High Wycombe. Brilliant, Graham. That's great. Not far away. High Wycombe. EFO says, I just bought the Heiko one. Starting, but need more things. Yeah, there's always more things. There's always missing, but good choice. The Heiko soldering iron is a very good soldering iron to start with. Skip says the Heiko 60 watt red handled iron is actually a fantastic inexpensive iron. Yeah, the 60 watt red handled one. Thank you for that shout out, Skip. I use the FX601, which is a blue handled one, but it's good to know that the red handled iron works really well as well. Mary says it was put through the letterbox, and on the front page there was an offer for a stained glass kit. My lovely husband bought it for me on my 40th birthday. Very romantic. Wonderful. A stained glass kit put through the letterbox. Yeah, that's wonderful that you got your stained glass kit from your husband on your 40th birthday, Mary. That is fabulous news. What a romantic he is, eh? What a romantic. Bob, another channel member. Hello everyone. Hello Bob Woolenhalp. It is fantastic you're joining us. Welcome on board, Bob. It's great to have you here, especially as a channel member. That is fantastic. Jane Arney says, stumbled across you on YouTube but really enjoying your tutorials. Thank you, Jane. You're welcome. I am making them for you and everyone like you who enjoys learning all about stained glass. Thank you for being on the live stream today. It's great that you're here. Kate. Hello, Kate. Evening. Sorry to join late. Been Pilating. Although I've been listening to you all day already, Derek, as working my way back through your Painting 101 course again. Well, Kate, it's fantastic you're here. Kate is a fantastic glass artist who's at the early years of her career but doing amazing things. We worked together on a TV program for the BBC called Make It at Market, and Kate is up in the Lake District doing amazing things and exhibiting her work and doing moderating as well for the channel when she gets the chance. Kate, it is fantastic you're here this evening. Now, when I put the question out recently about starting times, I know you said 8 o'clock would be better for you. Having a family is always juggling that with coming on live stream. So 8 o'clock, we're getting close to that point now. It's probably better for you, I take it, Kate. Yeah, so I'm going to keep asking those questions. I haven't made any decisions yet on a starting time for the live stream because I'm still canvassing people from around the world to get the best time, but a lot of people are answering, and I'm going to put the questions out again on Facebook, and please answer them if you haven't answered them yet. If you see them on my YouTube channel or if you see them on social medias, do answer the questions and let me know what time is the best time for you to start the live stream. So I'm thinking of, at the moment it's 7 o'clock, but is it better to start at 8 o'clock or is it better to start at 9 o'clock? Those are the times I'm thinking. It won't be 2 o'clock in the morning that I start a live stream, but UK time, between 7 and 9 o'clock, I'm happy to start the live stream and then do it for another hour or so. Kate says, I really struggle with lead-free solder for copper foil work. It just doesn't flow as well, but it's a must for any pieces like jewelry or pieces that may have contact with food like bowls. Yeah, fantastic shout out, Kate. You're absolutely right. So it doesn't flow as well. That's my experience as well. But my goodness, if you're doing anything that involves food, you know, yeah, I would be very cautious about using anything that has any kind of lead in it at all. So jewelry and things like that, absolutely. Yeah, really good point to make there, Kate. Kate says, sorry, you've answered that one. EFO, I can't wait for your course. Yeah, I have the painting one, watched loads, not started properly. Yeah, well, the great thing about the painting course, EFO, is that you have lifetime access, so you can watch and rewatch as many times as you like. It's there for you as a sort of library of information that you can, and you can always ask questions at the end of each episode or at the end of each lesson, and I will answer those because I get flagged up notices whenever anyone asks a question from the course, and I do my best to just jump on straight away and answer that question. And of course, when anyone who's doing my online courses asks a question, the answers are there for everyone to see as well. So it's sort of building up a library of information and resources, so moving forward. So it's great that you've got the painting course, and yeah, I'd love you to join us with the enamel course when it's available. Would love your in-person courses, but can't figure out the best way to get there from Argyle. Yeah, I know, Argyle, you might want to try and fit it in at a time, maybe sometime next year. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be putting out some more dates for October. My classes start this Friday and Saturday, glass painting courses, and then I've got an enamel course, then a glass painting course, then another enamel course each of the weekends, Friday and Saturday, for the month of September. And I will be putting out October dates. And then we'll maybe be putting out some November dates. Just depends what the demand is. I'm trying to gauge what the demand is, for people, and I'll put as many courses up as people need. But yeah, it would be wonderful to see you on a live course in person as well. Gentle Glass says, my first project is also paper and pencil. Yeah, it's a great way to start, to be honest, Cam. Working with paper and pencils is the best way to work, because you don't need to download software. You don't need to recharge your batteries. You don't need to kind of interface with it in any way. It's just pencil and paper. It's analog, good old-fashioned analog. And you can carry it around with you and take it on holiday. You can do your designs on the beach. It's just a great way to work. And it's also something that's really nice about, reading books. I don't really ever read books on Kindle. I like to have a book in my hand, and stuff it in my bag and go on the train and pull the book out. And, it's something really nice about analog and paper. And, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to go completely digital. Which reminds me, there's a question I need to ask you guys as well about, maybe today is not the live stream to do it, but we're going to do a live stream on AI at some point, because it's a big topic, and I really love to get your views, chat on AI, and whether you use it, whether you would use it, how to use it if you do. Julie says, Skip, I'm trying to do just that. Skip says, Harry Clark recently flew to Florida just to see the Geneva window. Yeah, I've seen the Geneva window in person as well. It's brilliant, Skip. It's brilliant, isn't it? Did you enjoy it? It's absolutely amazing. Kathleen Kessel says, hello from Cornwall. Later for me too, as just finished the scout run. Haha, I remember doing the scout run years ago. Kathleen, wonderful that you're here today. It's great that you've joined us. How was the scouts? I hope it went well today. Kate says, if you go into the summer one of Derek's course, I can highly recommend the campsite in the village. It's fabulous. Yeah, so we have a glamping campsite in the village, which has teepees. You can rent a teepee, or you can bring your camper van down, and it does fantastic breakfasts, and it's got like a pizza oven, and it's really rather gorgeous. And quite a few people who've come on my in-person courses, including Kate and her family, have come down on the camper van and made a weekend of it. So yeah, great shout out. So we've got lots of Airbnbs in our village, and a little hotel. We've got hotels in the nearby location as well, so you can join us or you can come camping. The in-person course is a great one to join. Kate says it's the getting there, says EFO. Looking at all the ways, driving seems the best way, but it's long. Yeah, make it a pilgrimage, EFO. Make it one of your pilgrimages to come down from Argyle. It would be fantastic to see you. So guys, we've had wonderful conversations. I'm loving the chat tonight. I'm loving all of these questions that you are sending through to me. It's absolutely brilliant. I've got a little kind of demonstration here, but I think we might save most of it to next week. But I did promise on the kind of trails for the live stream tonight that we would talk a little bit about cutting techniques with glass, because a lot of people who are starting out struggle with cutting glass, especially opalescent glass like this. You can see this opalescent glass is not transparent, it's opaque. So if you're doing Tiffany windows, or if you're stateside, most of the glass seems to be opalescent or opaque glass like this, which has a slightly textured side. Can you see that textured side? There's loads of different Kokomo glasses and loads of different glasses on the market, and new glasses are coming in all the time. But how do you cut? You can't see your pattern easily. You can see it's very difficult to see a pattern if you're using a light table. So this is an alternative that you may know about or you may not know about, and it's really popular stateside and it's really popular in Europe, using these pattern cutting scissors. Can you see them here? There's actually a double blade here. Can you see that little double blade? And then there's a single blade here. And these are a curious and interesting device. I don't really use them, but when I go to Germany to have some of my projects made, this is the technique they use. So basically, rather than cutting your designs out directly on a paper template like this, they will number each individual piece of glass that they want to cut, and they will cut out an individual paper template like this, and then they will put it down on their glass, and they will use that to cut the design out. So the way that you achieve this exact size is by using these pattern shears or pattern scissors with this kind of double blade and single blade. And the way it works is that it takes the center section between each piece of glass out, allowing a little gap for you either to lead it up, so that's the heart of the lead, or to copper foil together. And it's a really ingenious way of working. So basically, you always use your scissors from the outside. So let's just cut, for example, pattern number 2 out here. So we would cut from the outside of our pattern using the double blade underneath and the single blade on top. And we cut into the surface of the paper. And what it essentially does is cuts the center strip out. Let me just fish that out. Can you see here, chat? There's a little center strip cut out, which represents the heart of the lead. So let's get rid of that. And we then just continue round to our next line here, and we carefully cut that out. It does take quite a lot of practice, but working from the outside in is the way to go. This method I find to be quite slow, but the Germans swear by it. This is the way they work, and they create really complicated, amazing stained glass windows by cutting out each individual piece of glass as a paper template or a brown cardboard template like this, and they lay the design out on a tabletop with all of these pieces of colored, all of these pieces of paper templates lying on the table. I'm always afraid that somebody's going to open a window or open a door to the studio, and all of those paper templates are going to blow all over the place. I'm sure that doesn't happen too often, but I kind of use a slightly different method. But we are talking today about this method, and it is a popular method. So I'm talking to you as I'm doing it. So let me just continue with this single piece here, removing each section as we go along. So again, moving into, let's remove this piece here. Okay, it's a lot of extra bits of paper that you don't really need. So let's just, again, cut this center section out here. It doesn't really matter too much if you go over the lines, because you're still keeping this essential shape. You're just following this black line all the way around. It does take a level of practice, and you can't usually complete your whole cut in one slice. You have to sort of do it section by section like this. So again, continuing all the way around with this pattern, removing the pieces of paper as I go, these insets, which represent the heart of the lead. Again here, nearly there, nearly released this single piece of glass. I'm sure if you do this all day, every day, you get a lot faster at it. But I find this a very slow method. But I respect the fact that a lot of people like it and a lot of people use this method, and especially if you're using opalescent glass. So here's our pattern that we can then take a piece of glass, and again we never cut on the textured side. We always cut, let's get this orange glass here. We never cut on the textured side. We always cut on the smoothest side. So let's wonder if this pattern will work. Just about. In fact, let's move a smaller piece. Let's use a smaller bit that I cut already. Let's just take that piece here, which I cut just before the live stream. So here's a piece that pattern that I cut out. So I apply it to the glass that I want to use. Let's get one of our glass cutters. I'm going to use the Silberschnitt, one of my current favorite glass cutters. It's the Silberschnitt 4000. I've got a little container with a sponge, some olive oil. I don't fill the handle with olive oil. It goes everywhere. I just put a little dab of olive oil, sewing machine oil or glass cutting oil in place. Let me just cut some glass free here. So I'm going to put my safety glasses on as well, which I would recommend that you do if you're cutting glass. Always wear safety goggles. I tend not to wear gloves, and of course, having said that, I'll probably end up cutting myself on the live stream doing this, but I'll try not to. So I'm using my pencil cutter like this in this position here, so I'm holding it like a pencil. And the thing with having a pattern like this is that once you start cutting, you have to then keep the pattern completely still. So I don't know whether you want to tape your design down, but I find that the tape would get in the way. So let's just try and hold our pattern in one place and score around it like this. Let's break that piece free. Getting our rosing pliers. So there's our first piece cut. Again, getting this into position. Cutting our second piece. If the glass is really opaque, I mean, this is a great solution. You know, it does allow you to kind of get your shape and your pattern just right. What I tend to do is I make my templates in clear glass, and I don't actually cut my cartoon up like this. I keep it as a single cartoon on a single piece of glass, and if I have a piece of glass that I can't see through and I can't cut it on my light table, I will get a little piece of clear glass and make a template like this. And then I will take a Sharpie pen and I will draw around the template to get, if I'm doing it on opalescent glass, I will take a black Sharpie pen and draw around it. But the paper template is a very popular method. So let's just continue using this. So try it. I will leave links on my social medias to where you can source these pattern scissors. They're readily available on my YouTube channel, on my Amazon page, or if you have your own glass supplier, your wholesaler, I'm sure they will sell pattern scissors as well. So let's just break a little bit of this glass down here with our Grosing pliers. Now, because we've cut the glass right at the edge here, we're going to get a little bit of an issue with this very edge piece here. So I may end up having to grind this down a little bit more. So the thing with a grosing pliers like this is it has a serrated edge, which allows you to just very carefully nibble the glass like this to kind of, it almost acts as like a grinder to just kind of get rid of those burrs and those high points. But I will probably take this to the glass grinder as well, just to smooth off the edges. Let me just get rid of the excess glass. So the paper template method is, you know, a method that you may wish to explore, especially if most of the glass that you're working with is opalescent glass. When I do my work, it's usually on transparent pot metal glass, but occasionally I will work with opalescence as well. And the paper template method here is a great way to go because it allows you to cut without using a light table your patterns out. So have a look for a set of these patterned scissors, or shears sometimes they're called, or foil cutters. They come under different names, to be honest. But it's a method that I see happening, used in the States and used in Europe to great effect. And the people who do use it swear by it. They say it's a lot quicker. And I get comments every now and again from fellow glass artists who say, I can't believe you're using this old school way of like drawing it out on a single roll of paper and using a light table, and oh, it's arcane, it's old fashioned. You know, we use paper templates nowadays. That's great. If you like using paper templates, fantastic, and I would encourage you to keep using them. I personally don't use this method. I find it a step too far. It's messy, and for me it's slow. I have other ways of solving the problem of cutting shapes out of opalescent glass. But if you find value in this, experiment with it. These are not particularly expensive to buy, and you know, a lot of people use them. So that is, I will go into more details about glass cutting techniques in future videos, because a lot of people struggle with cutting glass, and I'm here to help you as much as I can with the tools and equipment that you might need along the way. Ezekiel says, Derek, I'm in the boot camp with you tomorrow. Yeah, that is fabulous. I'm really looking forward to seeing you, Ezekiel. Cynthia Caldwell says, I don't like how the paper gets stuck between the blades and I don't use them. I don't like how the paper gets stuck between the blades either, Cynthia. I don't particularly use scissors like this. I find it fiddly. However, you know, I respect the fact that it might be the perfect solution for people out there who can't use a light table or find it just easier to work with paper templates. A lot of people do, which is absolutely fantastic. Claire 80 says, that looks a bit of a faff. Yeah, it does. It is a bit of a faff in my humble opinion. Yeah, thanks, Claire. Yeah, I mean, you know, I use a light pad here, and if I have opalescent glass, I make a little glass template and I cut it in clear glass, and then I use a Sharpie pen to draw around that. To me, that is so much quicker than cutting a template out and having to put the paper template down, and the paper template shifting and moving around. It's just, and then there's all the streams of paper everywhere. Imagine a very complicated window with paper on the table, you know, all numbered paper. To me, it's a slow method, but I respect the fact that it works for other people. Ezekiel, you have given me a $1.99 sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Guys, you can, if you like, in chat, there is the ability to give super chats and super stickers. Oh, there's membership gifting as well. Oh, I can do that as well. Let me just see this. I'm going to do this for you guys because you guys have been really active in chat tonight. So I've got the opportunity to give out 5 free memberships for a month. It's random. I don't know how YouTube will allocate them, but you guys on the chat here tonight have been absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to send 5 free memberships out today. So you guys check here just now. It'll tell me in a couple of minutes which 5 people get them. So I'm getting the names coming up now. So we have got Was Here received a gift membership from Derek. Was Here, congratulations, you have a month's membership to the channel. Thank you for being part of the live stream today. It is my pleasure to be able to gift you with a membership. Lila A received a gift membership as well. Lila, congratulations, wonderful that you're joining us on the stream. You now are a member for the next month. I hope you enjoy it. This is a gift from me to you. Sarah Gates has received a membership as well. Sarah, it is wonderful that you are on the live stream today. I hope you enjoy the membership. There are a variety of different tiers. I'm not exactly sure what the membership tier is that you get free. There are 3 tiers and there are different access to content that you get from the premium level to the medium level to the entry level. So I'm not entirely sure which one it is that you're getting. Dan Lyons received a gift membership from me. Dan, congratulations. It is I hope you enjoy your membership this month, and it's wonderful to see you here. Skip says, I just rubber cemented the paper pattern. Oh, I just rubber cement the paper pattern to the glass. Cut and grind with pattern piece stuck to the glass. Skip, that's a great solution. Yeah, so that's the way that you work. That is brilliant. You rubber cement the paper pattern to the glass. Cut and grind with the pattern piece stuck to the glass. Yeah, that is a brilliant way of doing it. And if it works for you, that is fantastic. Each to their own, says Cynthia. Absolutely, I agree. Each to their own. Gentle Glass says, just wow, pattern scissors. Yeah, pattern scissors. If you didn't know, you know now, Cam. You know now. Pattern scissors might be the way to go for you. Nick Moore says, always found 2mm clear glass for cutting opaque. Good to be able to see through, as well as the glass grain sections easier, much quicker to cut glass templates also. Yep, I agree, Nick. It's the way that I go, but you know, each to their own. And a lot of, I think what you get used to, maybe if you're taught to use paper templates and you get quick at it, the idea of cutting a glass template seems wrong, you know, or using a light pad, it seems wrong. And that's fine. You know, there's more than one way to do this work, as I say many times on my live stream, and I respect the fact that people have different ways of doing things, and I'm not saying that there's a right way or a wrong way. There's just the way that works for you guys. So Ilker KK received a gift membership from me. Ilker, congratulations and thank you so much for being on the live stream today. Catherine Devan says, in France, everyone I know cuts glass with paper templates. I will have to try it your way. Karen, another channel member. Everyone in France cuts glass with a paper template. Yeah, in Europe it's extremely popular, and I know in Germany, where they, you know, the glass studios there, and I'm sure in France as well, are wizards. They're absolutely brilliant at techniques for making stained glass windows, and they use the paper technique. So I kind of feel that it has to be a great technique, and maybe it is quicker once you get used to it, and once you, as Skip was saying, find ways of working with paper templates. It's the easier way and it's the quicker way, and it you know, I may try and do it more often, but you know, I've been doing it the way I've been doing it for such a long time. It's kind of second nature. But yeah, by all means, chat, have a go with those pattern scissors. They may just be the right way for you guys to proceed. Wow, thank you for your gifted membership. Sarah, you're very welcome. Enjoy the month's membership. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. It is now 20:08. Do send me your thoughts on the starting time, the best time for you guys. I know many of you on the chat today have given me the best time for you. I'm going to continue for the next sort of week or couple of weeks to ask people what the best time to start the live stream is, because I don't want to mess people around and start lots of different times for the live stream. And once I establish a live stream time, at the moment it's 7 p.m. UK time, But I'm definitely open to be persuaded that more people would prefer maybe 8 o'clock or maybe 9 o'clock. Do let me know. And it is wonderful that you guys have joined us today in the live stream. 263 views as we've been live today, which is absolutely brilliant. Do tell your friends and colleagues about this stained glass community. We're live every week. It's from me to you with love. I'll see you next week.